Hey everyone, you might be confused on what's going on, as far as you're aware. Um, you can see that this is a podcast episode. I recently decided to make a podcast called the Checkerboard Chat Podcast. For those who don't know me at all, I'll give a brief introduction of who I am. Hi, my name is Lunar, or you can call me Maxwell. Either or works fine. I am hoping to be a content creator that makes enjoyable content for people to just enjoy in general, and I want to become like a full-time YouTuber or a full-time streamer. But whatever goes on, I want to be sure that I fulfill my dreams of becoming a content creator. It's been my goal for a long time, and this podcast is made so that way people can, if people don't really like my videos, nor my streams, or my shorts, or anything else, they can listen to this podcast. So that way they can listen to not only stories, but possibly stories from guests, if at all we have any guests. However, I highly doubt we'll have any guests due to my lack of contact. I only have one social media platform, which is YouTube, and that is the only thing I have. As you can tell, this is not held on a different channel at all. This is held on the same channel, which is my main channel, Lunar. And the reason for that is because I have no idea how to make a second channel. I don't want to go through the trouble of having to get permission to make a second channel. Also, it'd take a lot of work, and I am unfortunately a procrastinator and a podcast, not a podcast. Well, this is a podcast, okay. Sorry, I'm going without a script. But, I am unfortunately a procrastinator, and I'm lazy, so that makes everything worse. And because of that, I don't have a script for this, so if I stumble on my words due to my unfortunate stuttering problem that I apparently gained as I grew, then I apologize. It's just a mess up. I will go over some words that I may or may not have messed up. But, yeah, this is the Checkerboard Chat Podcast. I think I may or may not have stated this, but this podcast is mainly for sharing stories or sharing cool events or just chatting about things and stuff. Apologies for my stuffy nose. It's bad weather, but yeah, this is mainly for stories, just sharing stories, my experiences with life and stuff. And this may or may not be the first ever official podcast with one singular member, and only one singular member, until someone, or I don't know, if someone wants to become an official member, but they have to be one of my friends, so it's not like a random person can just come onto my podcast and go, hey, I want to be an official member. But I don't know how I'm gonna get a guest on here, because it's gonna be impossible at this point to get any guests. But if it's gonna be a one host podcast, then it might as well be a one host podcast from now on. As you can tell, this podcast will be sectioned into different seasons. So right now this is the pilot. This does not count as an episode at all. This only counts to see if people are interested in this podcast at all. And if you are, please make sure you're subscribed. And if you're not a fan of, everything, well, not everything, but if you're not a fan of my videos or anything at all, this podcast is made for this, so that way you have something to listen to when you're having a hard time at work, or you just got home and you don't feel well, and which is why I'm going to be posting every week on Saturday, 10 p.m., these episodes. Sorry. I have trouble wording things, and that's my fault. But nonetheless, I am going to be sectioning this podcast into different sections or seasons or chapters. So since this is season 1, if we reach 100 episodes on season 1, that will mark the end of season 1, and we will start the Checkerboard Chat podcast season 2, which will be a completely different podcast, but it's still the same podcast, yet a different chapter. I hope that makes sense, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoy the future episodes for this podcast, because I have really high hopes for this. Even though this podcast was just, something that I just wanted to do for fun, I might as well do it officially, because I've been wanting to do a podcast for like a month, and that's due to like some of my inspirations that have done podcasts before, and I'm like, hey, that seems fun, but like, since I don't have any online friends to collab with or share stories with, then what's the point? But then I'm like, what if I can do like a one-host podcast, It may not seem like a podcast at all, but I can make it work. So I'm hoping that this one-host podcast can work as well as it can, and I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it as much as I will for these future episodes at all. Like I said, well, probably not like I said, but if at any point you want to listen to this podcast and sleep, that is completely alright. This podcast was technically made for people to listen to if they're having a tough day, or if they just want to use this to sleep at all, which is the exact reason why I have lo-fi music in the background. Because apparently studies have shown that lo-fi music makes, it doesn't have any stimuli, so any like really extremely hyper music doesn't hyper stimulate the brain. So lo-fi does just that, of just keeping the person studying or anything like that just focused or something. But lo-fi music makes me sleepy personally. That's probably due to my insomnia, but I don't know. But nonetheless, I hope, I wish this podcast well, by the way. I'm hoping that I can be able to get at least 2 members, 2 official hosts of this podcast, so that way this can be like a good flow, and this can have more variety, as well as more interesting stories, some more interesting topics, and some more interesting chats about everything. I'm not quite sure what the meaning of the checkerboard is, but my assumption is that the meaning of like the checkerboard chat is basically each individual square representing different stories or something. I have no idea. Even though they're both the same, I have no idea. I should probably make an actual good condensed reason of why it's just named the Checkerboard Chat Podcast, but nonetheless, I just decided to make a good name up, because most of the good names that related to sleep were mostly taken. Some of them that I wanted to do were all coffee related and also taken, but I had an idea of doing the Checkerboard Chat Podcast because I don't know, I like the checkerboard pattern, because it's just squares. I don't know, different colored squares, black and white, different colored squares. It's just something that I kind of enjoy. I don't know, but nonetheless, yeah, I really, like I said, like multiple times, I hope that you guys enjoy this podcast as much as I will in the future, because not only will I be posting more episodes in the future, but I may or may not have guests on this podcast, because I really have high hopes for the future. And I've been always told to, wait, because I have to wait and be patient, but I unfortunately can't wait and be patient, and I just wanna like show the world who I am. I just wanna like make a good impression on the world and show the people online who I am, and just see if they're interested at all. Yeah. Also, if at any point you want to make fan art of this podcast, some people have made really good fan art or fan animations of podcasts and stuff, and it's really cool. So if you want to post some, if you want to post at all some fan animations or fan art, use the hashtag Checkerboard Podcast to. I hope that hashtag isn't taken, but use the hashtag Checkerboard Podcast in order for your thing to get noticed. Because I like seeing animations. I'm an animator and artist myself. This background is even drawn by me, and I even plan on making an animation meme soon. So, if you use that hashtag and get that thing noticed, then I'll put it up on screen. I'll feature it, because I want to be sure to credit some of the artists, because I know people work hard for their art and their work, and animation and art is a lot of work. I can tell from experience, because I did animation for a little bit, and it sure almost gives me carpal tunnel, but people work hard, and I want to display their work out in the public and make them known, because who knows, they may be just really underrated. But nonetheless, yes, this is the Checkerboard Chat Podcast, the podcast where we talk and chat about different stories. And yeah, I will see you very, very soon on Saturday, 10 p.m. See you later.